Well, it's Pink Floyd weekend on MTV, and right now we're going to take a one-hour journey into the world of Pink Floyd. We're going to talk to David Gilmour, Nick Mason, and Rick Wright, and we're going to go behind the scenes on their current world tour. We'll delve into the history of the band. We'll play some very rare Floyd videos. So turn off the lights, turn up the volume, and get ready for Pink Floyd Over the Wall.
Usual tours, but I mean we did the last big tour we did in '77 was fairly intensive. Late '77 when we finished that last big Pink Floyd tour, by late well, I did a solo album in '78 then. Rick did a solo album in '78. At the end of '78 we started The Wall, and that took us through till late '79 when it came out. Then The Wall shows, The Wall tour, then The Wall film, then the Final Cut album, and then my second solo album and the second solo tour, and then we were at the start of this record. It hasn't been a holiday.
Probably the biggest tour, first of all, I've never been on a tour that was quite like this grand. One thing about Pink Floyd, they do everything really grand.
This tour is going on and on forever. I'm convinced I'm going to have to pass it on to my children.
The most significant thing in the whole tour is that the people that come to the show inevitably walk away saying, whether they like the music, don't like the music, thought the show was overblown, they say, man, that's a great show.
But it's been great. It's been a great tour.
Such a happy tour. For me, it's the best tour I've ever been on with the Floyd. In terms of the music and the crew and the staff and everything. And the audience too.
What we do is a combination of music and lasers and lights and video and all the rest of it. It's that I think is good and special, and it's something that, you know, as I said earlier, is something that's our particular niche.
An awful lot of time and energy and cash, of course, was put into trying to create the whole thing and make the whole thing work. I don't think any one individual thing is something you can tie down and say that's significant or important.
There's a custom-built stage that we had specially fabricated, which has very exciting lighting effects in it. And the combination of the whole lot, when they all synchronize together, is just amazing.
What should happen is things move from one to another and the music takes over, and then there's a lighting effect or something pops up the stage or whatever. It should all just keep sort of moving on rather than there be sort of clear elements that take over.
On a wing and a prayer, my grubby halo, a vapor trail in the empty air. Above the clouds, see my shadow fly.
It's a great crew. I mean, really, it's a great credit to the crew and the designers. That really, all the shows They've all worked. We've not had any of those sort of major disasters where we've come off afterwards saying, well, that was a pity.
Came over here, God, the first tour I came on in '68, we were here for about 10 or 12 weeks, I think, ages and ages, and we only did a few gigs and we lost a fortune. We toured here for years, actually building up larger and larger audiences right across America without ever really selling a record. I mean, and by the time we got to Dark Side of the Moon, we were touring, playing 12, 15,000 seaters, sold out the Hollywood Bowl and stuff like that. Then after Dark Side of the Moon, the whole sort of picture changed rather.
Probably gave us a sort of secure base to operate from that is probably very necessary for the sort of work we do.
Got memories associated with some Pink Floyd music, and mine in particular was with Great Gig in the Sky.
Dark Side of the Moon, I think, was a big album for a lot of people.
Business was saying you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that, and we said, well, it doesn't matter, we're going to do it anyway.
This didn't start out of any concept or any marketing concept or anything to do with any sort of promotion. It just happened as a band who built up a following by live performance. There's only a certain amount of themes that most people do get into in terms of these things, you know, life and love and death and madness. An idea and the effect that it has on you is something sometimes that you want to use yourself, and so you maybe don't do it quite the same way, but you see what effect a certain thing has on you, and then you try and use that.
Well, it helps getting it out close to the audience, because I guess it makes them feel more of a part of the show. And we try to keep it down as low as possible so they can almost touch it.
While not deliberately wanting to enter into, not forcing oneself to enter into all the political arenas, if you like. If they come up, and they do come up, I don't see any reason why one shouldn't follow them through.
Using stuff on this tour that we never dreamt of sort of 7 years ago. Things like lasers. I mean, laser technology is still in its infancy, really, in terms of how it can be used for live shows.
I was involved, along with Paul Staples, in the design of the stage and the production. We basically have lasers, we have droids, which are a fiber optic source, mercury vapor with fiber optics, and they come up through the stage. It's a robotic kind of look, they look like robots. pod that travel across the stage. They have vari-lights and telescans on them, and they track on XY coordinates, so that they basically will come to a place and then decelerate into position and stop. Pretty much can change the look of the whole stage at any time we want, any moment. So a lot of the cues are programmed according to the music and what's going on with the film, etc.
I think I would disagree that we've had an influence on rock and roll. I mean, I think we've sort of carved out a little niche for ourselves.
I started when I was 14, so that would make it...
Cathal, Dave Cathal.
What's 14 from 42? 28? 28 years I've been playing guitar. Well, certainly for me, being raised listening to classical music, show music, you know, from Broadway musicals to classical music to blues music and sort of 40s pop music, popular. I mean, all those, that very, very wide influence of musical background is an incredibly valuable one that I certainly draw on all the time. And I find there's so much narrower if you listen to radio today, that I can't see how people can get half of those influences. That's an aeroplane. Set. Mixtures, rich. Propellers. Flaps, set. 10 degrees. Gauges, suction.
If you tell the story visually, you take away the opportunities people have for using their imagination. General feeling that the performance at least gives something to see without trying to spell out the meaning of the song.
I think learning to Fly was a good choice to make a sort of conceptual video for, which I think is a great video. I adore it.
Across the clouds I see my shadow fly. Is there anybody out there?
I want people to think about what it says and the atmosphere that the music creates and the words that go with it. And that's a sort of a delicate thing, and you can destroy that in people's minds with a poor video.
Well, we have to go back to the dawn of time, really. we started doing some work with one of the London art colleges who were running a light and sound workshop, and we started supplying the music for that.
Roger and Sid went to school in Cambridge. I went to a different school. I didn't know Roger, but I knew Sid. And Sid went up to an art school in London, and Roger went up to an architecture school in London, where he met Nick and Rick.
Everyone knows the story of Sid. It's a very sad story, because he was, I think, brilliant.
Emily tries but misunderstands.
The Sid acid certainly had a part to do with it, with his mental breakdown.
The significance of Sid in the sort of modern day Pink Floyd is vastly overemphasized. I don't think it's nearly as important a thing as some people have seemed to think. However, he was a fantastic talent.
I think it'd be fair to say that it was much more of Roger, Alan Parker and Gerald Scarfe. Dave had quite a lot to do with the music and the sort of organisation of it and so on.
It had a lot to do with getting the music right for the film and trying to keep the peace between the warring factions at Pinewood Studios, with the directors walking out and being begged to come back. That was my role, begging the director to come back.
It did get quite sort of spiky.
It was quite good, but I thought it was very sort of pretentious in a way.
I quite like it. I think it's pretty powerful, but I don't think it quite achieves what it could have done.